Okay folks, welcome to part 2 here of the Littlbug Jr. Review. So now we're actually going to get a fire going in this little guy and see if we can boil up some water. So I've already collected my my twigs and just some stuff as dry as I could find. We got dumped on our first dumping of snow here in northwestern Ontario, and it's that wet, heavy snow, so there's a lot of wet stuff, and it rained for the past 3 or 4 days before it even snowed, so the ground's pretty wet. But I was able to get a whole bunch of, some smaller twigs, and then I've also processed some black spruce. It's stuff that was up off the ground, dried. I just tap split it with my axe, and so now we're going to start this guy. So I've already heard a ton of feedback on what's the best way to load these stoves, and what I'm kind of finding is take some of the processed stuff that's going to generate some BTUs when it finally does catch, put it at the bottom, so that as the looser stuff starts to burn down, you're going to get some hot coals going on the bottom, and I think that's the best way to go. So I'm just going to start throwing some of this smaller processed stuff in there, and that's going to go right at the bottom of my stove. Enough to generate some coals once it finally catches. And then what I'm going to do is just take some birch bark and throw that in there as well. Again, I'm doing this on rock. You'll notice that there's nothing on the bottom of this stove, but I'm on rock, so it's okay. I'm not going to burn anything. So once I have that done, I'm just going to feed some twigs in there, some of the smaller stuff that I collected. And this stuff's actually, well, it's green, so hopefully it's going to burn. Try it out. It only took me about, 2 or 3 minutes to break this stuff down. It wasn't too much of a hassle, which is good, because obviously for these stoves to be to work properly, for solo canoe travel, they got to be efficient, because they're competing against white gas, where you just turn on a match and you feed some gas into the stove, pump it up, prime it up, and away you go. So it's got to be quick and efficient, and so far in the gathering wood processing part of it, so far so good. So I'm adding some twigs, as you can see. It's going to be great to get this going because I am cold. It's about -4 Celsius right now, so it'll be good to get some heat going, and then we're going to see if we can get this water boiled. Okay, so I got that stuff, and everything is obviously below the pot rests. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more of this processed stuff. Just shove all that down. Okay, grab my lighter. Well, actually, maybe just a little bit more birch bark in there. There's probably more in there than I needed, but just do it anyways. There you go, and shove that all down. And now I'm just going to light some, and away we'll go. So the birch bark is lit, and it looks like it's out. That's my fault though, not the stove's. So we'll just throw that in there like that. And we'll get that birch bark going. And already the heat from this fire is feeling great. So that technically should burn down and start catching on the twigs and the wood that's in there. And I'll have a fire going hopefully in no time. Oh, that feels good. Now what I'm going to do that's probably a little different than the other stoves, I'm going to put the pot on right away. Because the pot rests are up over the stove lip, I think it's going to make it so that I can put this on right away, at least get some heat going into my pot, and hopefully soon enough we'll have some water boiling. Oh, looks like she's going. So it's starting to snow here. I'm just going to clean the camera for a second, and then I'll come back and we'll see if we can get this water boiled.